Welcome back to the Crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is officially starting to repeat history as it's now starting to play out the short-term bullish divergence, just like what we saw these last few times. But do not be fooled by the short-term bullish moves, because we're still playing out this massive warning signal on the larger time frames, while Ethereum is also flashing and confirming this oversold signal on the daily time frame in the RSI. So we could potentially be about to repeat history like these last couple of times, while the price of Chainlink is also now confirming an oversold signal on the daily time frame for the first time in many months. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish trend. The last couple of times this flipped into the red, we either saw a multi-month pullback, a larger correction in the price, or potentially a larger bear market that lasted for around a year if we're talking about 2022. But overall, of course, it is a bearish signal to watch out for. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, obviously we've already had this massive warning signal, this bearish divergence already been playing out for over a month now, as I actually warned about here on the channel over a month ago, back in around mid-October. I warned about this massive bearish divergence playing out over the coming weeks and months here, expecting a lack in bullish momentum, a lot of weakness in the price, and most likely a pullback coming soon. So obviously since mid-October, that has played out exactly as I predicted and warned about back then, and this could likely continue to play out moving forward over the coming weeks or months. So keep that in mind. No matter what happens on the small time frames in the short term, if we're looking at the bigger picture here, we're still not in the clear yet. We're still not looking too good. So don't expect a lot of strength, at least not right now, on the weekly time frame. But if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, at least right now in the somewhat shorter term, the price of Bitcoin is still hanging at roughly around this 78.6% Fibonacci level, which is sitting at around 85 to 86,000. And over the last one day, we did not actually confirm that daily candle close below 85,000. And so obviously this means that at least for now, we've not yet fully confirmed the break below this point of support here. So still expect support at roughly 85 to 86,000, but obviously if we start confirming a daily candle close, for example, or especially multiple daily candle closes below 85,000, and especially if we fail to get back above that area soon after that break to the downside, then in that situation, if we actually find resistance back at that area, then we could likely see a further drop in the coming days or weeks down towards lower price targets. And the lower price targets I'll be watching based on these previous lows is sitting at roughly around 75 to 76,000. But once again, right now, it's still possible that if we can see a little bounce very soon, it's still possible we could hold this as support at roughly 85,000, give or take. And as for resistance, if we do end up seeing a bit of a bounce here, of course, if we avoid the break with confirmation, avoid the break to the downside below 85,000, then in that situation, the next resistance towards the upside is sitting at around 88,000. And above that, expect more resistance in between 92 to 94,000. But if we confirm the break below around 85,000, in that situation, of course, expect that to become a new resistance if we first confirm the breakdown. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously, as I already mentioned over the last couple of days, we're now hitting well into the oversold territories in the daily Bitcoin RSI. And the last time we saw something like this in the daily Bitcoin RSI was all the way back here near the beginning of this year, around late February 2025. And what came next in the price of Bitcoin was a bit of a short-term bounce, a bit of a short-term bullish relief, but not necessarily the bottom of the bearish trend. Obviously, we ultimately continued lower later on, but just in the shorter term for the following days, the next 1 week, that sort of time frame, we did see a bit of a bullish relief to help to reset the RSI out of oversold, giving us a little bit more room towards the downside to continue the bearish trend later on. And so based on this signal also now confirming, like what we saw last time, it's possible we could see something similar in the shorter term over the coming days or over the next week, just a bit of a short-term bullish relief, but not necessarily confirming the bottom of this larger move. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, once again, as I talked about in my last video, not only have we confirmed an oversold signal on the daily time frame, we've actually just confirmed an oversold signal on the 3-day Bitcoin price chart for the first time in over 3 years. The last time we confirmed this oversold signal on the 3-day 3-day time frame in the RSI was all the way back here in mid 2022. And so if we're simply looking at the last couple of times this signal confirmed in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI, we did either see just a sideways consolidation over the next few weeks, or potentially a little bit more of a bullish relief over the next few weeks or over the next 1 month. But this is talking about the 3-day time frame. Once again, if we're talking about the daily time frame, it's maybe over the next few days or over the next 1 week. So understand the difference between the different time frames. And on top of these oversold signals playing out on the daily time frame, the 3-day time frame, we also have a short-term bullish divergence, which has technically been confirmed. As I also mentioned in my last video, we now have a new bullish divergence on the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart with clear lower lows in the price in the candle closes already confirmed, and slight higher lows, almost horizontal lows, but still a form of a bullish divergence. Of course, slight higher lows in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI. And so once again, as usual, a bullish divergence typically means we either see a slight bullish relief or maybe just a bit of choppy sideways price action. So basically a bit of a breakaway relief from all of the bearish price action. So in other words, over the next few days or so, don't really expect this extreme bearish price action. Do expect a little bit of a break finally from all of the bearish price action. But remember, this signal by itself, and of course these oversold signals, are not necessarily bottom signals. They do not confirm that the bottom is in. For example, we did see these signals back here, and yes, they did result in short-term bullish movements over the next few days or so, but not necessarily confirming the bottom of the larger bearish trend. And so if we put all of this information together, what do I actually expect and predict for the price of Bitcoin? And well, right now in the short term, like I already predicted in my last video, which is perfectly starting to play out already, I do expect just a slight bullish relief, either a bit of choppy sideways price action or maybe a slight bullish relief moving forward. So a bit of a breakaway relief from the bearish trend, most likely at least over the next few days, possibly even around a week or two, considering the oversold signals, not just on the daily time frame, but the 3-day time frame. This could mean potentially a little bit of a relief longer than just a few days. It could be, once again, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. But overall, if we're talking about, let's just say, the next 1 or 2 months, we're still not in the clear yet. We still have this massive bearish divergence on the weekly time frame that we cannot ignore. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, what's very interesting is right now, obviously we already wiped out a lot of liquidity along the way towards the downside as the price has been dumping over the last few days, over the last couple of weeks here. But obviously we now have some major liquidity building above the price, with a lot of it sitting at roughly around 97,000. So keep that in mind. We also have a small amount at close to 94,000. So those are potential price targets towards the upside to watch out for. But I want to make this clear. I don't necessarily expect the price to go all the way up towards 97,000 right now based on this reason alone, because obviously that is quite a large move towards the upside. And for now, we don't really have any other signals pointing towards significant bullish momentum. Once again, this signal right here and this oversold signal right here point towards maybe a bit of a relief in the short term, but they do not guarantee significant bullish momentum. In fact, the last couple of times these played out, once again, we saw slight bullish reliefs, but no strong momentum towards the upside. But this could help to draw the price towards that liquidity, kind of just helping the bullish divergence and the oversold signals in the shorter term play out maybe over the next few days. But keep in mind, we'll likely find a lot of resistance between the current price and say this liquidity at 97,000. For example, I would expect a lot of resistance, as I said earlier, in between 92 to 94,000 if the price actually gets back up there. And so this is definitely the time in the market to get set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take advantage of the next trading opportunity in the crypto market. And if you use the first link below this video in the description or in the pinned comment, that first link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can take advantage of some massive deposit bonuses simply just by making an account using that link and making a deposit. As little as $100 deposit, you can get a $200 bonus, basically free money from the exchange into your account just by making this small deposit here. If you deposit $1,000, you get a $600 bonus. All the way up towards these larger amounts, you can get up to 40,000 USDT in bonuses just by simply making an account, using that link and making a deposit. And once again, you can get these major deposit bonuses here, but it's only for this limited time, as you can see right here. And it's only if you use that link. Unfortunately, if you don't use the link below the video, you can't claim any of these bonuses here. And then of course, not financial advice, but if you want to, you could go ahead to use the deposit bonus, use the exchange's money in order to actually open one of these Bitcoin trades right here to profit from the next Bitcoin move. And then of course, you can go ahead to, of course, withdraw any profits you make out of that trade while you're trading with essentially the exchange's money, not even risking your own money. And so once again, if you want to check out all of this, it's the first link below the video. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. But if you want a no KYC exchange, and if you also want protection from liquidations, protection from any losses on your trades, definitely check out the second link below this video. That second link below the video will take you to 2bit, where it will take you to this page right here, where you can take advantage of massive bonuses and essentially recovery funds and also loss protection, trade protection. And so as you can see right here, if you use the link below the video to actually make your 2bit account during this event, you can get a 100% loss protection on your first trade if you're a new user that's signing up, but only if you use that link. And that loss protection is up to 200 USDT in trial funds. And on top of that, if your account actually saw total liquidation, so if you got liquidated on any of your positions over 50 USDT during this event that's happening right now, if you got liquidated, you may be eligible for up to a recovery compensation of up to 1,000 USDT. So basically, 2bit is essentially helping to cover your losses if you're getting liquidated on your trades. But once again, all of this right here is only available if you're using that second link below the video to actually make your 2bit account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. Once again, link below the video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is indeed a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and right now, of course, we are technically still within that shorter term pullback, the short term correction for the Bitcoin dominance. But over the next few days, considering that this bullish divergence will likely start to play out in the shorter term, it's likely that the price of Bitcoin, or the Bitcoin dominance, I should say here, it's likely the Bitcoin dominance will start to play out a bit of a sideways consolidation moving forward. So ultimately, that is my prediction right now in the immediate short term, relatively neutral price action, nothing too significant in the Bitcoin dominance just for the next few days. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH obviously already confirmed a break below this previous Fibonacci level and dropped exactly down towards the next level that I've been targeting at around 2620. So really in between 2600 to 2700, 2.6k to 2.7k was the next support to watch out for once we broke below around 3000. And that's exactly where the price bounced from at this local low, at least so far. But once again, as I've been saying pretty much every day for months now on the channel, don't be fooled by short-term bounces from these key points of support, which are likely here in the short term from time to time, but don't be fooled by those short-term moves because we're still within the larger bearish trend. So it's possible we play out a little bit of a bounce here, slight little relief from the trend, but if we ultimately stay in the trend, which for now we are still within the bearish trend, it's possible we could ultimately break to the downside at some point later on. And if that ends up happening, if we end up confirming a break below around 2.6k, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, in that situation, we'd likely see a move down towards roughly 2.2k as the next major level of support. But in the meantime, if we first see a little bit further of a bounce here, expect a lot of resistance at closer towards 3000, really in between 3000 to 3.1k as a strong area of resistance. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, we've now officially confirmed the oversold signal in the daily Ethereum RSI. And the last time we saw an oversold signal, and the time before that where we got very close to oversold in the daily Ethereum RSI, these last couple of times here, we did see just a slight little relief, a slight little bullish move in the shorter term over the next few days or over the next week, that sort of time frame, but not necessarily confirming the bottom of the bearish trend. And so especially if Bitcoin continues to play out this short-term bullish divergence over the coming days, maybe in the form of just a sideways consolidation, maybe a slight bullish relief, then it is quite likely we'll see something similar for Ethereum, maybe start to play out a bit of a sideways consolidation or a slight bullish relief. But once again, based on this signal alone, don't expect a massive high momentum reversal towards the upside. That is very unlikely right now. What is much more likely is just a little bit of a break from all of the bearish price action. No significant bullish momentum, just a slight relief from the bearish price action, but still within the larger bearish trend, which means it's possible we could go lower at some point later on. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now Solana is still running into this point of support here, sitting in between roughly $124 to $127, give or take. And if we start breaking below around $124, especially with candle closes towards the downside, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, in that situation, would likely see a move down closer towards $100, really in between around $100 to $105 as the next strong area of support that I'll be targeting. And as for resistance, in case we see another bounce here in the short term, expect a lot of resistance in between roughly 143 to 147. And clearly the larger trend, the larger price structure is still currently bearish. So as I've been saying once again for months now on the channel, don't be fooled by short-term bounces from these points of support. That's very normal to see, very normal reactions from running into support, just a short-term bounce here and there. But overall, we're still within the larger bearish trend, so don't be fooled by those short-term bounces. And of course, right now, the 2-day Solana RSI is getting extremely close to oversold. And the last time we hit oversold in the 2-day Solana RSI was around early to mid-March. And what came next was just a slight little bullish relief. Once again, that did not confirm the bottom. We did see another leg towards the downside coming next over the next few weeks, but just over the next few days, over the next 1 week or so, we did see a slight little relief. So especially if we hit oversold, once again, right now, we've not yet technically confirmed oversold, which means we do have a little bit more room towards the downside. But soon, if we continue this dump here, soon, maybe in the coming days, we could start to see just a slight little relief. But once again, don't be fooled by those short-term reliefs. Overall, we're still looking bearish in terms of the larger trend here. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, we're still playing out the massive bearish divergence on the weekly time frame, as I've been saying for months now on the channel. In fact, back at the end of July, early August, I warned about this multi-month pullback coming very soon. I was warning about this massive pullback here. You can even check the videos that I posted back then. They're all still public. And when I was talking about this massive pullback coming over the next few months, when the price was all the way back up here, close to all-time highs, a lot of people were leaving negative comments here on the channel telling me I'm going to be completely wrong about this huge pullback over the next few months. But hopefully some of you out there actually heard that warning and took advantage of this pullback right here. Either you sold near all-time highs or maybe shorted along the way towards the downside. But either way, hopefully some of you out there heard those warnings that I said back here close to all-time highs. But either way, of course, right now I do continue to predict this larger bearish divergence to continue to play out. Right now, there's no sign to confirm the end of this bearish divergence. There's no confirmed signal confirming the invalidation of the bearish divergence, which means overall expect a lot of weakness, lacking bullish momentum, and most likely more bearish price action still to come on the larger timeframes. Remember, in the short term, here and there, we can see little bounces and things like that. But if we're talking about the next multiple weeks or months, expect a lot of weakness for the price of XRP. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, of course, right now and over the last few days, we've already broken below this previous Fibonacci level of support, which was sitting at roughly $2.05. So $2 to $2.05 was the area of support that I was watching, but we've now confirmed multiple candle closes below that area on the price chart, which means I'd now expect resistance in that area. So if we see any little bounce here, expect a decent amount of resistance in between roughly $2 to $2.05. And of course, we also have a lot of resistance at around $2.20 and also in between $2.30 to $2.40. And as for support to watch out for, expect a lot of support at close to $1.80, which based on this local low just here, at least so far, that's pretty much exactly where the price bounced from within about 1 cent of $1.80. So that is the support to watch out for in the shorter term. And if we break below $1.80, especially with confirmation, and especially if we fail to get back above $1.80, in that situation, the next target, the next point of support would be sitting at around $1.60. But it is worth pointing out that the daily XRP RSI is extremely close to oversold. We're not there just yet, which means we technically have a little bit more room towards the downside in the shorter term, but we are getting very close to oversold, which means if we do end up utilizing that room towards the downside with a little bit more of a pullback here, very soon this could hit oversold in the daily XRP RSI. And the last time we hit oversold in the daily XRP RSI was around early to mid-October, and what came next was just a slight little relief. So first of all, a bit of a bounce in the short term, followed by a little bit of a pullback, but ultimately some choppy sideways price action over the next few days and weeks. So once again, just a short-term relief if we hit oversold, but not necessarily confirming the bottom of the larger bearish trend. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink. Obviously, we're still clearly within the larger bearish trend, forming lower highs and lower lows, as we can see. But obviously right now we are just hitting oversold in the daily Chainlink RSI, and this is the first time we've seen this in a very long time. As you can see right here, from all of these other dumps, we'd never actually hit oversold in the daily Chainlink RSI until right now. And so once again, this is a signal on the price chart telling us that very soon we could start to see just a slight little relief. Once again, this is not a bottom signal. This does not mean the bearish trend is over, but it does mean that within the next few days, within the next week, that sort of time frame, start to expect just a slight little relief from all of the bearish price action, which means either a sideways consolidation or maybe a slight bullish move. No strength in the market. I do not expect a lot of strength, just a slight little break from all of the bearish price action in the shorter term, in the coming days or over the next week, that sort of time frame. And then it's possible we could head lower later on, because for now, once again, we're still within the larger bearish trend. And as for support to watch out for, we have a lot of support at around $11.60, which is pretty much exactly where the price bounced from at this local low, at least so far. So continue to expect support at $11.60. And if we break below that level, expect more support at around $10.90 to $11. So roughly $11 is the next support if we break below $11.60. And as for resistance, in case we see any little bounce here, expect a lot of resistance in between around $12.80 to $13.30. And so overall, those are my expectations, my predictions, and the key levels to watch out for and the key signals to watch out for the price of Chainlink and all of these other crypto assets. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below the video to those exchanges if you want to take advantage of those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.